Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back from our Easter celebrations. I hope you had time to, well, I think everyone had time probably to reflect and to ponder and to express gratitude for what we have and what we've been given. I wanted to talk today about a subject that I think is a part of all of our journeys in network marketing and throughout life, but I'm going to talk about it especially in the context of our business. Randy Gage said this, and tell me what you think of this, or have a moment to reflect on this. He said, hope is what gets people into the business. Belief is what keeps people in the business. Don't you find that to be true? Hope is what draws people in, but belief is what keeps them there. He mentioned one of the things. Are you getting a bit of reverberation, Dave? Can you hear me okay?
It's on mute, so let me.
Okay, no problem. He mentioned a number of different things that can help us to transition, to grow from having the hope into having the belief. And in fact, I'll read out the list. I want to focus on just a couple of them today. We don't have time to go through all of them because each of them are big subjects in and of themselves. But he said each of these elements, he says, serve two purposes. First, they make us a stronger leader. He says, and the other is they help us to build the belief in the people who follow us. But these are the 7 things, he said, that help us move from hope to belief: posture, image, events, personal development, consistency, commitment, and sacrifice. I'll read that list again: posture, image, events, personal development, consistency, commitment, and sacrifice. The first one, he said, I really like this, is posture. And I want to share an example of a lady that I saw who made the transition before my very eyes from having hope to having posture. And I share this because when I saw it, it taught me a lesson, but it raised a concern, and I'll reveal both the lesson and the concern as the story unfolds. She was a wonderful distributor, very capable, very competent. In fact, one of our most engaged distributors in the market that I was working with her in at the time. She had great hopes for building the business, and she'd been in for a number of years. So here's the point. Hope can get you in, and hope can keep you there for a while, but you won't really rev up and get firing and really charge ahead with any meaningful momentum if you don't make that transition to belief. Hope can keep you there. It can keep you around, for example. It can keep you around the campfire. It can keep you associating with people, but it won't necessarily have you overwhelmingly engaged. Yeah, it'll have you maybe just skirting the issues a little bit. So she was involved, she was engaged, she was doing some good things. But then she started to get that hope start to stretch a little bigger, a little brighter. And she saw that there was a potential for her to make a serious rank advancement over the coming months. So she worked really hard to do this. I think I've shared this story before, excuse me, when her upline came over from the States to work with her and said, I'm going to set up a series of meetings. I'll be in your area for a week, and every night of the week, we're going to have a meeting in a different town. Every night, a different meeting in a different town. Now, her current activity was, if she worked really hard, she could get a national event on, because she was in a little country in Europe, where she'd get 30 people into the meeting room, the same 30 people every month, but that would be once a month. And here he was now demanding 7 meetings in the space of a week in different places. Well, as you can imagine, she panicked quite a bit at the task that lay ahead. But she wanted to make it worthwhile for him. She wanted to make sure that his time was well spent. So off she went, and she did it. She went to town, and rather than just send out emails and send a few text messages, she really went all out to invite as many people and to enlist all of those 30 people in her team to do as many things as they could to get people to these meetings. On the night of her first meeting, she phoned me, nervous, anxious, and excited, right? All these emotions built into one. And she said, oh, she goes, Ben, she said, I feel like a schoolgirl, on the night of having, where I'm hosting my own party and I'm worried that no one's going to turn up. She says, that kind of feeling that you're going to have, if you're going to host a party and you're worried that no one's going to arrive. And well, sure enough, this is what happened. Every night, they got at least 50 people in the room at every single event. And they recruited, on average, 10 people per night. What a great ratio. What a great ratio. We sat down afterwards and I asked the question, what did you learn from this experience? And and because what was happening was she was getting people in the room, her upline was giving the presentation. And she said, I learned that I can do the presentation as well as him. She goes, in fact, I think I could probably even do it a little better, right? I said, this is great. What a great learning that is. You don't need him to come all the way over from the States to do your business presentations. I said, you know what I learned? I learned that we finally discovered what it takes to get people to meetings. Yeah, it's so much more than what we originally anticipated. But wasn't it worth it? Look at the impact that it had. Well, sure enough, this is the essence of the story. As a consequence of these meetings and the influx of new recruits, she continued on after he left to keep building the business with gusto, and she got that rank advancement. Not only did she get the rank advancement, but she got one of the biggest checks in the European business that had been delivered in a long time. She was very excited. And this is what happened. As a consequence of that, her posture changed. Her confidence changed. She went from hoping she could do well and be a great leader in the business to believing that she was. She went from going, I'd love to have a big fish. Have you heard that phrase before? Oh, this guy, he's a real hot prospect on my contact list. He's a big fish, right? He's one of the big guys, or she's one of the big guys, ladies. And she went from wanting to attract a big fish into a business to going, I am a big fish. What a wonderful difference that was. And so for me, I thought this is great because her posture changed. She walked into the room with confidence. She held her head high. All of a sudden, she approached different people. Her contact list changed. That was a fascinating observation. The people she added to her list changed. It went from being anyone to being really select, capable, skilled, competent people that she'd approach. And she approached them differently. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. So I learned something there. My observation as I was watching this transformation was fantastic. I learned through personal observation of this lady's journey that posture plays a big part. That when we transition from hope into belief, which can only come through experience, that we can suddenly get that posture that we need to approach the business with confidence. So that was a great lesson for me, but it came with a little bit of a challenge because I thought, wait a second, she got a great rank advancement, and this was in a different company to Nikan, but it was the equivalent of her going diamond. I thought, do people need to wait until they rank advance to diamond in order to develop posture, in order to transition from belief or from hope to meaningful, substantial belief? I thought that can't be right. Is it right? No. I want you to know that her experience was valuable and important, but we don't need to wait until we become a diamond in the business in order to develop that kind of posture. I want to share a couple of thoughts here. Again, I want to reference Randy Gage's book, Direct Selling Success, From Amway to Zombies. I'm sure, Dave, you got that book. Great book, great book. He says this, he said, when you don't have posture, you approach candidates and the business as a whole like this. And I want you to do a little bit of introspection here and reflect. How do these different approaches sound in relation to my approach? He says, when you don't have posture, you go, I'll give it a try. Do we give it a try when we talk to people? I hope I don't get rejected. Let me see if any of my friends get excited first. When you have posture, you approach your approach with mindsets. You approach, with mindsets like this. I'm going to crush this. I'm going to nail it. Right? What a different attitude that is. Who can I offer this to next? This is incredible. Who's the next person that I'm going to talk to? He said, we've got to understand we can have posture even before we've got the rank advancements and even before we've got the big paychecks. In fact, he said himself, he developed the posture before he got his first $500 check in the business. And he approached capable, competent, skilled, better people than him into the business. He said, let's look at the reasons why we can have posture. He said, this is one of the best businesses around. And certainly, as we look at today's economy, now just think about this for a second. There are literally tens of millions now that are out of work looking for something and needing to also be quarantined and stay at home. They need a home-based side hustle business, something to help out. Here are some benefits. It's extremely low investment for Niken, less than $100. Okay, that's a safe bet, that, isn't it? High profit potential, lifestyle benefits, lucrative tax benefits, opportunities for contribution, no employee headaches, low stress, travel opportunities, residual income potential, passive income potential. So I like this. But he said this, and this to me is what really struck me. When he started building, he thought about 10 people specifically that he knew that could produce a multi-million-dollar business. How's about thinking about our contact list that way for just a second? Not just thinking about anyone that'll say yes to something in a fit of desperation, but who do we know that could have million-dollar potential or impact on our business or on a business, on their business? He said, and by the way, of those 10 people that he thought of, 7 of them had no leveraged sales experience. They weren't people that were currently in or had experience with network marketing. He said, yet he was confident they could earn that kind of money because they were intelligent and possessed both influence and good teaching skills. So that's what you want to think about when you go, okay, so you say, Ben, think of 10 people that could create $1 million or multi-million-dollar business. Well, how do I know who they are? They're people that have influence and they're people that have good teaching skills. Who do you know that has influence and good teaching skills? Now, here's the thought. Okay, well, I'm not a diamond yet. I don't have that posture. We don't need to be like this lady that I talked about that got the posture through experience, but waited for the long journey of experience to arrive or to complete before she could develop the posture. We don't need to be that way. We can start sooner. Think about this for a second. A Stradivarius violin is worth millions, correct? Correct. Even if you don't know how to play the violin. There's a thought. It's still worth millions, right? What about instead of a violin, what instead of a Bugatti, a wonderful sports racing car, a supercar? What would that be like? What's that worth? What if you don't have a driver's license or don't know how to drive yet? Is it still worth something? What about our business? What's it worth in reality? It's not necessarily what you've done with it yet. As I thought about this, I thought about when I've gone house hunting. Frustratingly to me, where I live here in Orange County, it's ridiculously expensive, far more expensive than where I came from in the northwest of England. But property prices here are ridiculous. You pay for the sunshine, you pay for the good weather, definitely, and you pay for the location for beaches, for top universities and all that kind of stuff, but it makes it competitive. It means that there aren't many houses in the area where I live that are under 7 figures. It's ridiculous. Dave and I have talked about this, haven't we, Dave? And it drives me crazy. But Kim and I are currently renting because we moved over here just a year ago. And we're going, should we buy? Should we rent? What do we do next? And we started looking at some different homes in the area. And it dawned on me that the gentleman that was showing us the show homes that we were looking at and was giving us all the information, helping us to make the sale or to make the purchase, he couldn't afford to buy one of these houses. He was just a real estate agent that was working for the house builder. He was a sales rep. And I realized, wait a second, he's selling me a house here that he can't afford to buy himself. Likewise, if you go to a luxury car dealership, the people that are selling you the cars probably can't afford to buy the car themselves. The people that serve you in first class on an airplane probably can't afford to go into first class themselves if they didn't work for the airline. We get service all the time from people, opportunities all the time from people that can't necessarily at that point enjoy that privilege themselves, but they see the value of it. Ladies and gentlemen, why do I share this? I share it because if you're brand new in the business, you can still say that you own the Stradivarius violin. You might not be a master violinist yet. That's okay. You still might have the Bugatti in the driveway. It will still have that wonderful, ferocious engine, but you still might need a few lessons on how to drive it smartly. You might know the beautiful areas in your town where the best houses are to buy, but you might not be able to afford to buy it just yet. It doesn't matter. It doesn't stop us talking about it. And it's the same with this business. When we see the true benefits, like, excuse me, like I talked about before, all of these benefits that we have, and I'll just review them one more time. Who do you know that has influence, that is great at teaching and persuading others, that has great leadership skills, that could go out there and influence others to be attracted to this wonderful opportunity that has been in existence now for 45 years with us, generated billions of dollars in revenue, has changed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people's lives through their health-focused products and technology. Who do you know that wants to have extremely low investment, high profit potential, lifestyle benefits, lucrative tax breaks, a chance to contribute, no employee headaches, lower stress, travel opportunities when travel bans are lifted, of course, residual or passive income? Well, the world is suddenly waiting for us, isn't it? But we don't need to be waiting until we get to Diamond to have that posture. That posture can come in knowing now that what we have is of worth. We have the Stradivarius. It's in our possession. And we can learn while we play. I learned as a musician myself when I was younger that the best way to become an accomplished performer was to practice my instrument and to play it. I couldn't just read books on it and get better. I had to play it. And I had that trombone with me everywhere I went, all the time. That was just something that I just fell in love with. And because I played it so much, I'd like to think I got pretty good at it. Yeah, but playing it gets you good. But I bought the instrument and jumped in and got going with it. That's how you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going with the business. Let's jump in. We own the Stradivarius, start to play, and enjoy the journey. I'll pass it back over to you, Dave.
Oh, Ben, very, very good ideas. Most of the business is up inside your head, your attitude, belief. What wonderful ideas, and then putting it to work. Practice. One of my favorite thoughts I heard from John Max. We all have charisma or want it, and he said that confidence equals charisma. That's the same thing. If you have really good confidence, that's attractive. If you're successful, that's charisma. Success attracts success, and so if you're looking for good people, person, be the kind of person you wish to attract. And that's why this is a personal development company that sells product. The real product is humans being more. helping us realize their potential greatness. I love this kind of stuff. So wow, what a great platform to be on to difference and help other people be more. Thanks, Ben.